Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. And today I am joined by singer, songwriter, and author, and the queen of abstract soul. She's actually created her own genre of music, Siquoyia Blue. Siquoyia has also created a dating game app. She's written books, so we're going to be talking to her about her music, her new genre of music, and her books and anything else that she wants to talk about. So Siquoyia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, why don't you start off just by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, hey, everybody. I am Siquoyia Blue, and I'm a singer, songwriter, author. I also have a dating card game. So basically, I've been doing music since I was 12 years old. So I am, basically trying to keep the momentum going for this new genre that I created called abstract soul, which means that there's no niche when it comes to my music. Like I'm not just R&B or just one thing. I just kind of mix sounds together because I believe an artist is a true artist. We're not you know, just making up stuff. It's like coming from the soul for me anyways. And I just feel like abstract soul kind of embodies what I do.
So tell the listeners how you actually got started in music and what made you decide to come up with abstract soul, because there's so many genres of music. So what made you just say, hey, I'm going to do my own thing and this is what it's called? How did you come up with the name and get it started?
Oh man. So, because when I first started doing music, it was like people were trying to put me into a certain hole. Like, okay, this is what, if you're, especially a black singer, if you're a black singer, you're R&B, you're Sierra, you're this or that. And that's not, I was like, well, that's not me. And I'm not a gospel singer because I like gospel, but that wasn't my thing either. So I was like, well, where do I fit in? And then I've been called unorthodox. I've been called certain names and certain things from some people in the industry. And I just said, you know what? How about I be the change that I want to be, that I want to see? So that's why I created Abstract Soul, because I just feel like as an artist, painting a canvas, we shouldn't be put into one thing or one genre. Okay, this is what you're going to be. I mean, that's boring because it's almost like, well, it just doesn't make it exciting and fulfilling. And then you're not spreading that message to the user. So I would say that that's why I created Abstract Soul. And I got into music when I was 12 because it was like, I didn't feel like I was good at a lot of other things. I was like, man, not really good at school. I thought I was going to play basketball and it didn't work out. So I started singing and people started paying attention, and it was like my little hiding place. And I always had a good time doing my music and sharing it and stuff. And then when I hit college, that was when I really started performing and meeting different people and figuring out where I was going to stand with music. And fast forwarding to now, it just feels like I'm more uninhibited with my music, where I just don't feel like there's any rules, and I want to push that vibe out there to the universe, because I just don't feel like we should just be put in this box as artists. So that's the message I'm spreading to everyone, is that, artists are, people. We have, some of us are made from machine and some of us are actual spiritual artists that we're singing from the soul, just like a painter paints his art. So that's the message I'm trying to spread about music.
So tell us about the Dating Assassins card game app. Tell us what that is and how we can check it out and why you decided to create a dating game app.
So Dating Assassins card game, it's a card game, so it's not an app yet. In the future, it may be an app, but I wanted to have this nostalgic feeling where people can still, grab a box of cards and read, from the cards and stuff. And basically I was like, let me start with the card game, then I'll do the app later. But basically the card game, it has 150 questions in there. And basically what we're trying to do is, we created this because we want people to vet, either their current partner or their potential partner. I noticed a disconnect in the dating game where people were just rushing. They didn't know who they were dating. They didn't know, the key things that they need to know about the person. So I was like, well, then this was like 3 years ago. I was in LA at the time, working in LA, and I said, let me create a card game where people can vet these people, vet their potential mates and see if they're right for them. And let's forget the looks, let's forget all the money, whatever. Let's vet and see if we're compatible or not, and even if you're in a relationship, let's see if we're compatible or not, go from there. And also it's just a fun game for anybody to play. Like even if you play it with, if you're married, you can still play it with your husband or wife because you can still, it's just a fun game night and you might, bring up some memories with some of the questions that's in there. So I think it's going to change the world as far as dating.
Well, speaking of dating, what's your opinion on the current dating apps that's out there right now?
Oh Lord. What I can tell you is that it has changed within the last 6 to 7 years. Like I think, one time when I was in, like, I think I was like a few years ago, I was interning for this lady and she had a matchmaking company and she would match certain people together. And I remember I was helping her out with matches because I was just intrigued with it. I was like, I want to know how this works. And it was hard matching the ladies because they had such high standards and stuff, but it was easier to find, some guys for them. Now, man, the app it's like a lot of the good guys and went away. There's still great guys on there, don't get me wrong, but it was more like years ago. It was just like 7, 8 years ago. It was definitely more, good potential candidates, but now it's like, it's definitely changed. But I do feel like apps are important and it's needed because when you go out and stuff, even if you try to go out every day and meet a partner, sometimes it's just hard to walk up to people and ask questions and stuff. So I do think that the dating apps is definitely needed, but it does need to hopefully some more good people get on there that are more serious and stuff.
Well, let's talk about your musical influences. Who are your influences and who influences you to do what you do?
Oh man, I can say right. I mean, I guess I could say right now, currently. I mean, I like SZA, I like Jasmine Sullivan. Who else I like? Well, I liked Amy Winehouse. Rest in peace. She was very different. Um, who else? I like shoot. I like so many people. I can't even remember. But I like Beyonce's work ethic. So I like her work ethic a lot, and how she puts so much energy into her music and tries different things. Oh, and I like there's another new artist, Labyrinth. I like Labyrinth a lot, Labyrinth, because I feel like he's kind of just walking into his own light, doing his own thing. And that's very inspiring for, people like me that are more so like, I guess changing the status quo of music. And I think in the past, it was like when I first started listening to music and stuff, it was like D'Angelo and Nina Simone and uh, I forgot his name, but the guy said, "I'm singing this song for you." Donny Hathaway, I believe Donny Hathaway. Just, I mean, it was just so many that I was just so inspired by, and Kelly Price, and I was just always singing their music. Sly and the Family Stone, I actually did a remake of Sly and the Family Stone. Actually, I actually changed the lyrics around and created my own little remake, and that was really one of my first tracks I recorded. I was 20 years old, and it went viral on MySpace back then. And I actually miss MySpace. I wish it was still here, but it went viral on MySpace, and a lot of people liked it. And that's when one of the record execs was like, "Gosh, you're unorthodox." And I'm like, he was like, "Dang, you got a lot of young people listening." And I'm like, "Well, maybe they want to hear something new. Sometimes people don't want the same thing that's out there." So yeah, those are my influences, and those are my current influences. And yeah.
Well, let's tell listeners about your books and tell us what we can expect when we read them.
Oh man, about the book. So my first book, y'all, I had changed the name because the first book, the title of it was different at first, but then I decided to change it. And so what is my Dark Obsession is my first book. So Dark Obsession is available on Amazon, and Dark Obsession is about a woman that's living this high life in Atlanta. She's the successful lawyer. She has a great husband, but she feels like there's something missing and he doesn't really understand it. Her husband doesn't really understand it. So she gets into a whirlwind, and it's not just about romance, but she gets into a self-reflection situation. So, and learning more about herself and realizing what's real and what's not, instead of what she thinks people want her to be. So it's a really good story. It's really different. I was super young when I wrote it, and I got it revised now that I'm older because there's certain things that I might think that could be changed in it. So, but Dark Obsession now is available. It's a really good book. And then I have a children's book called Sammy Bean, and Sammy Bean it's about bullying because I was bullied in school. So it's really about this young kid that just wouldn't get bullied by Sammy Bean. He comes in and he's confident and stuff, and he's telling Sammy Bean, "Hey, you're not gonna sit here and bully these kids no more." And it's a little bit of fantasy because he does some little movements and stuff in the story, but it's a really small children's book. It's really cute. A lot of people like it. It's on Amazon as well and on my website. And then what my third book. Actually, my third book is not out yet. I'm working on it. So it's going to be called One Blue Day. It's a compilation of short stories. And it's just many stories about what, people are going through in their lives. And I think that one's going to be a big hit. So that's going to be coming out by the end of the year. And you should see it on sequoiablue.com. So yeah, those are my prize books.
Well, tell us about your writing influence as far as books go.
Oh man, great question. Eric Jerome Dickey, rest in peace. He inspired me, when I was young at 2021, when I couldn't afford to go to the studio all the time. I needed a creative outlet. And I used to read Eric Jerome Dickey, Walter Mosley, and Paulo Coelho. And I just was like, I want to write a story. I just felt so inspired. All I could see was these stories and stuff. And I remember saying, definitely gonna write a book, and I kind of follow Eric Jerome Dickey's swag in a way of how he explains things. I liked how he described the character, how he went in detail, and I thought that was cool. So I really just that's what created my first book, and then it kept going from there.
Yes, I do know. So you're also a podcast host. You just got your hands in it all. Tell us about that podcast.
I know it, right? Well, you know what? Podcasting came to me unexpectedly, because my first podcast I was 22 years old, and I was, I'm an introvert, and a lot of people don't believe that, but I'm an introvert, and I was scared out of my mind, but I needed a creative outlet, so I started trying to motivate people, and I started off on Blog Talk Radio, and I started off there, and then I got so nervous that I stopped doing it, at that time. And then fast forwarding to now, I started back podcasting a year ago. And, now I'm a little older, more confident and stuff. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And, also there's new softwares out now compared to when I was 22. Everything was different. Now there's so much cooler stuff out here now. And Blogmas Podcast, that's my podcast name. It's about motivation, entrepreneurship, going outside the box. I interview people that's thinking outside the box and stuff like that. I even do movie reviews. So nicheless. I call it the nicheless podcast because I just never know what, I might talk about any topic, but it all encompasses motivation. Anything I talk about is motivational. So even if it's a movie, I got a motivational tip at the end. Everything's about motivation.
Absolutely. That's the same thing this podcast is about. So when I bring artists on, what I like to do is get a little sample, get them to sing something so people can hear what they sound like. So why don't you go ahead and break us off with a little something?
Okay, let me see which song I'm gonna do, because you know what, I'm gonna do a song from my first album, Limitless, that's available on all streaming platforms.
Do it.
Okay, here I go. Want to get on the plane, go on an island so far away. I gotta get away from the people, so I can get a peace of mind.
Man, that's cool. Like that. Like that.
Thank you. It's called I Want to Live, because a lot of people are just here but not living. So.
Absolutely. So I know you got that new book coming out. What other upcoming projects you're working on that people need to know about?
So we'll have a single coming out. It's gonna be about self-love, and I already have the beat and everything. I'm just gonna get it down and record it. That should be coming out by the end of the year as well. I thought I was gonna have an EP coming out by the end of the year, but I pushed it to next year because there's just certain things I just wanted to be right. So that's coming out next year, but there will be a single out by the end of the year. And then what else? Yeah, the book is coming out, One Blue Day. That's going to be out by the end of the year as well. SequoiaBlue.com, that'll be released there. And Yeah, that's about it right now.
Okay, well, you got SequoiaBlue.com. How can we find you on social media? How can we check out your music? Let us know that full contact info.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you can go to sequoiablue.com and there's a section in there where it says music. You can click that, listen to me. Also, you can go on Spotify or wherever you want to stream at and type in Siquoyia Blue. Just make sure you spell it the way it's spelled, the correct way, sequoiablue.com. And you'll find me everywhere. I'm on YouTube, I'm everywhere. And like I said, the books is going to be on sequoiablue.com. It's going to be in the merch section on my website. So you can go up there and check out the books and everything that's already on there. And let's see. Yeah, and my social media, Instagram, you can contact me. It's called I am Siquoyia Blue on Instagram. Twitter is Siquoyia B. And I think that's where, YouTube. Yeah, definitely follow my YouTube, Siquoyia Blue. Follow my Blue Alchemist Podcast YouTube. Just type in Blue Alchemist Podcast, type in Siquoyia Blue, and you will find me.
All right. Well, close us out with some final thoughts, maybe something that I failed to discuss that you would like to talk about, or just any final thoughts you got for the listeners.
My final thoughts is whatever it is you want to do it, because you only got one life, and and that's that. Just do what you want to do and stay positive about it and help, and that can inspire someone else behind you.
That is definitely that. Ladies and gentlemen, SequoiaBlue.com. Be sure to check out her books, music, podcasts, dating game. Follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Siquoia's got some big things in the works. She's definitely doing it big. Thank you so much for joining me today, Siquoia.
Thank you for having me. And thanks everyone for listening.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.